So now we are going to go to our next presentation. So, Erin, can you say hello?
Hello, I'm Erin Scanlon, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing from my side. Okay, that looks fantastic. Take it away.
All right, one moment. I just lost everyone.
It looks
Okay.
good on my side.
All right, so I can't see the chat at the moment, but I'll be sure to find that. Hello, everyone. So I'm Erin Scanlon, and I'm the Director of Channel Strategy and Operations for Dow Jones. Some of the panelists mentioned just in our last talk that they fix things. So I build them. I'm responsible for our external website, our internal communication channels, our intranet, Slack, social, email, events, digital signage. I'm also a technical consultant and an intuitive empowerment coach. So I'm passionate about the power of integrating both our personal self in the workplace. It was perfect. Ashley was just talking about this. So I was like, thank you for teeing it up for me. So what is all of me? I was super excited when asked to talk. And the one thing that I wanted to bring is this concept that I've been working on for a while, and it's combining the personal plus professional. And that's what gives us our power. So many times in our life, we get caught up in only being our work self, or only this is my home self or my personal self. But really, when we are truly in alignment with who we are, it's when we bring both. So here's a little bit about me. Let's get to know me. So I'm a dog mom. I'm a human mom. I have a partner, Bob. I'm a friend. I work at Dow Jones. I love to teach. I love to play with my friends. I'm holding a pickleball mallet, but I'm really terrible at pickleball. I put that on because I'm intentionally manifesting that I'll get better. I like to read. I'm a sister. I'm a daughter. So there's a lot of different facets of who I am, and all of those pieces of me are important. And I believe in integrating them and pulling them into the workplace. Hovering. So this was a new phrase that I had not heard of before, but one that's recently been surfacing for me. And really, as I started to move down this pathway of work, covering is downplaying or hiding certain aspects of yourself so as not to appear different. Well, Deloitte did a study on this in 2013. And in 2013, they found out that 61% of employees cover their identities in some way. Well, that was 2013. I'm sure we're doing better now. In 2023, they did the same studies and found that 60% of employees are still covering their identities in some way. So it's really not that much of a shift. And I was surprised by this study because I felt that people were coming to work and being more authentic. But I believe that there's a piece of us where we're holding back. At least 60% of us are. So what do we do about it? Right? How can we stop covering who we are and truly step into our power? I'm going to give you today the 3 A's of your power. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to move into a little bit of an activity. But let me tell you what these are first. 1, awareness. So you'll see here, what is your greatest blank personally, and what is your greatest blank professionally? You get to play around with plugging in whatever it is that you are trying to understand more about yourself. So that's the first step. Second step, it's add. How can you put the two of these together? So in some instances, they might be the same when you're thinking about it. And in other instances, they might be radically different. That's the sweet spot for you, right? Where are they radically different, and where can you start to pull them together? And then third, it's action. So you don't need to take 40 steps. Often we get overwhelmed with change. I loved when Susan was talking earlier about change and how, and then also Sharon was talking about just the fear that can come from change and stepping into the unknown. Well, so many times we try to get so far ahead that it feels impossible for us. But when we think about it as one simple step, just one step, and sometimes it's even the thought of it, that's how we move forward. And so that action helps cement it and it becomes a practice. You may have seen on one of my previous slides, I'm a yoga teacher, and I always tell my students the best thing that happens is when you fall out of a pose. And they're like, oh, not really. I'd rather just stick and land that tree pose. But it's in the falling out that your muscles learn new shapes. It's in the falling out that you develop new strengths. It's in the falling out that you're able to release some of the fear and the judgment that comes up. So it's giving yourself permission to commit to a step. Okay, so now we're going to try it on for size. So maybe you've got a pen. We were just talking in the last panel about writing things down. So maybe you have a pen, maybe you have a piece of paper, maybe it's your phone, and maybe you're just going to use your brain. Any of those items are just fine. But I want you to think about what is, and this is a pretty broad topic. So we're filling in the blank with the word strength. You could fill in anything, but we're going to start big. So start to think about what is one of your greatest strengths personally. And if you're having a moment of panic, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. What is my greatest strength personally? You can always go to the Google. That's what I did, right? So I went to Google, I grabbed a list. I literally looked up greatest personal strengths, and I felt they were a little too clinical. So I even said, make it more fun. So take a look at this list. There might be one that's on your heart that already has come to mind, but if not, see if there's one here that resonates and just jot it down. Okay, next. So now let's think about what is one of your greatest strengths professionally? You know, I'm going to give you the list in a minute. We have already been there, but think about it for a moment. And if it's something you've never thought about, you're doing the first step, right? You're in that place of awareness. You're asking yourself the question. You're getting to know yourself a little bit more. Okay, here's some ideas. And also, don't feel limited if you're looking at this list and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I think I can do every single one of these. That's equally great. Okay, so next up is let's practice. So the 3 A's, awareness, right? The first part is awareness. The second part is adding it up, putting it together. And then the third part is action, commit to one action. So for me, from an awareness standpoint, I sat with it and I said, well, one of my greatest strengths is connection. I believe in connecting first with myself, with my higher self, also with the people around me, with my team. I love my animals, right? I love to connect. And then I thought about what is one of my greatest strengths professionally, and I'm a great strategist. I love to plan. I'm one of those people who get really excited about lists, like you might be one of them as well. I love them. I love them. So those are just 2 strengths, right, that come to mind for me. Add it up, connection plus being strategic. And now I've got to find one way in the workplace that I can put these together. So, and I'm going to have to tell you that the panelists, when they were talking about, it may have been Sharon that was talking about agenda. And then I think a few others did as well. We also talked about icebreakers too. So that's what I did for my example, connection, right? Let's kick off the meeting with a fun icebreaker. Strategic. I love to have an agenda for meetings because it's the way that I can be the most respectful of other people's time and still accomplish the goals. So by having an icebreaker that maybe starts in the first 5 minutes, this is one of my new favorite icebreakers, by the way, if you're looking for one. You ask people if they're a morning or a night person. I got a great answer the other day. A teammate had said, brunch. She's like, my sweet spot is brunch. She's like, not really morning, not really night, I'm brunch. I'm a total morning person. I am up early. That's when I sit, I meditate, I connect in, and then I'm ready for my day. Don't see me after 9 p.m. My sister bought me a mat that says, welcome to my home, please leave by 9. Couldn't be more true. So you start with an icebreaker and then you move into the other pieces of your meeting. But by committing to this one step, this one action, I put into practice the way I want to connect and be strategic. And that's where my power comes from, right? That's how I'm able to fully integrate into the life that I want to live and the life that I want to lead too. One of my favorite thought leaders, his name is Jim Quick. He's with Quick Brain. One of his quotes is, "The life we live is the lessons we teach." And he also talks about, if you really want to live it and you really want to learn on a topic, you teach on it. So I'm hoping from our conversation today, you're able to take what we've learned and you're also able to put it into practice, not only for yourself, but it might be something that you share with someone else. Okay, so, and I really wanted to leave more time for questions and for us to talk through some of these other pieces. So remember your 3 A's: awareness, add, and action. It's some of the best ways that you can bring your full self into work. How can we really start to shift away from covering, from losing the piece of ourselves, and from also when we are at work, finding the ways that we can feel the best richness and the best success is by bringing in all of us. And it's really when we think about our goals and our career path and what we want to do in our life, it's by bringing in all of the components of who we are. Right. So all of me, power plus professional is really how you step into who you truly are. And you can go to scanlonconnections.com. That's where I have some of these slides listed. I'll just pull it up really quick. At the top, you'll see that there's a featured topic, all of me. I have some of these slides and some of these practice examples for you. Okay, so Ginger, I would love if we want to open up the bridge and I can take some questions, because maybe we have a little bit of a conversation on this topic, or if it's even then in the chat.
Well, thank you so much for this. Yes, and Erin, thank you for your presentation. And just a reminder, if anyone would like to ask Erin a live question, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. But after that, please keep all these questions coming into the chat. So our first question came from Danielle, and she says, what advice would you give to someone that does not have confidence in their powers?
Oh, then, okay, I'm going to come right back to the tree pose I was talking about. It's practice. It's absolutely giving yourself the opportunity to try something and see what you think. Whenever I'll use yoga, right? So whenever I teach tree pose, I always talk about the first step is the kickstand toe, right? So if you're not familiar with tree pose, one foot's planted, the other leg is peeled open, and your toe can start on the ground. So you start where you are, right? If you were going to step into a gym and start lifting weights, you wouldn't go for the 20-pound, you'd start with the 3-pound. So it's about starting where you are and building that confidence within yourself. And confidence is not a character trait. It's a muscle. It's a muscle. It's a skill set that we get to develop. So what I would say is, what is one thing that you can think of that you do feel really confident in? Let's say that you always make fantastic buffalo chicken dip, right? Wherever you go, people are like, can you please bring the buffalo chicken dip? It is delicious. So think about the things that you do feel really confident in yourself. The first time you made it, did you knock it out of the park? Probably not. You probably made it, and then you worked on perfecting it, and you tried little things each time, and then you develop that confidence, that muscle. So if you don't have the confidence, it's great. You're just taking that one step to get there, and each one will give you more and more confidence.
Well, thank you. All right, I think we have time for a few more questions.
Yeah.
And Kayla says, I always find it interesting to find the intersection between who I think I am and who others do. I usually
Yeah.
find that there's very little overlap. Is it bad that I'm showing
Um,
myself in a way that I don't even see myself?
no, but isn't that fun to unpack? Right? And here's my question for you. And so think about it like this. Do you think it's bad? Something's only a problem if you think it's a problem for yourself, right? So do you wish, if there's this disconnect of the way others see you and the way you see yourself, does it mean that you're perhaps not showing your full self? And can you look at both? If people see you in a way that you admire, sweet, right? You lean into it. If somebody might see you in a way that might not be the way that you're representing, then again, it's just data. It's all data and it's information. And then it really comes back to that power of choice that then you get to choose what you want to do with it. And so if there is that disconnect, what are ways that you can start to get closer and lean more into who it is that you're becoming? Because change and growth happens each time that we make little tweaks and little steps in ourselves.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. All right. Well, and a few more questions. Let's see. Emily says, do you have any recommendations for how to get others in your workplace on board with bringing their full selves to work and being more open?
Oh, yeah. So that's good, because you also, I'm a Reiki practitioner, and two of the Reiki principles, one is where it talks about like, just for today, I honor myself, my truth, and just for today, I honor each person and their truth. So you can't change someone else. You can't, right? And wouldn't it be great also if everyone just followed the manual that we've created for them? It would make our life a lot easier. Sometimes the relationships, our work relationships, our personal relationships that come into our life, they're also our assignments. So we have to, the best way to maybe bring someone else along is to lead by example, right? To show them the power of what you are doing and how it feels. And you can offer, right? You can offer different ideas and different opportunities for them to connect and for them to step into their own power. But if they don't want to, that's their choice. And that's exactly where they are. And maybe you might not see what happens from you planting the seed, but perhaps that's what you did. Maybe your role and their pathway was just to plant the seed, and they'll remember that and it might come back to them.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, I guess our final question, someone said, where do you teach yoga?
Oh, I live in Canonsburg. I live in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, and I teach yoga and some other fitness classes. So yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm so excited to be involved with the Pittsburgh Women's Leadership Conference, because I wasn't familiar with this network, and now I can't wait to be more involved.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Well, before we move to our next presentation, any final words of wisdom for all of our viewers today?
Yeah, I would just say that, and be true to you, right? Don't allow yourself the awareness. If you don't know who you are, don't be afraid of that. In fact, be excited that you don't know who you are. It means you're about to embark on a really exciting journey.
Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.